As the most populous country in West Africa, Nigeria has the highest number of child brides, with an estimated 22 million child brides living in Nigeria, which accounts for 40% of all child brides in the region. In northern Nigeria, the practice of child marriage is more prevalent, with figures as high as 76%. We create the change we want to see in our community. When young girls are given out into child marriage, their dreams and aspirations are obscured, and their chances at education become slim. Because most adolescent girls who live in rural communities are already married with at least one child, with limited access to contraceptions and the possibility of high-risk pregnancies. Empowering young girls with credible sexual reproductive health information will spur them to make an informed decision to choose when and whom they marry, when and how many children they have, and gives them the chance to fulfill their potential.
My name is Sani Mohammed, and I am the founder and executive director of Bridge Connect Africa Initiative. Our journey started in late 2017 and early 2018 when I met a 15-year-old girl, Luba, who was a divorcee, had a child, and was out of school. I was conversant with some of the women's rights issues, and I've been involved in a few, but I had never comprehended the consequences of child marriage until then. I was angry, so I got curious. I went to her school, and surprisingly, there were only 5 girls in the whole of JSS 1 to JSS 3. And a week after that incident, I went back to that same school, and the principal reported to me that another 11 years old in JSS 1 was married out that same week. I was heartbroken, furious, but at that time I felt powerless. I had never seen this side of our culture as it is usually ascribed to. With my anger and curiosity, I often traveled to rural communities where I witnessed similar pattern. There was this time I visited a primary health care center where I observed these adolescent mothers who suffered several complications from childbirth. One incident that struck me most in one of the communities I visited was when I went up to this household and the grandmother offered for me to marry any of her granddaughters, and both of them were just around 12 and 13 years old at that time, simply because I gave her a 500 naira note, which is even less than $1 today. I understood strongly then that child marriage was not just a function of religion or culture, but of poverty. We spoke and listened to the stories of these girls, the abuses they faced in their homes, their dreams and aspirations and all. I knew we needed to act, but at that time I didn't know how. With support from PACE, PRB and other partners who provided us with the knowledge, tools, skills and expertise to tell the stories of these girls in their authentic cultural voices and push for both policy and community level change with evidence. This was the birth of BCAI. We began to mobilize and we started a campaign for young people to speak up against child marriage in northern Nigeria because we understood that not many of us young people have the opportunity of engaging in such sensitive discussions and conversations with their peers. And since there was already a pervasive culture of silence among women, little would have truly understood the experiences and the pains that these girls and women go through and live through because of child marriage and such other harmful practices. So we went ahead to tell the story of Zainab, who was a 2-time divorcee. She was married out at the age of 15. We didn't stop at that. We took our advocacy to the grassroots, engaging both community level gatekeepers and also at the policy level, using at that time smartphones and multimedia tools to amplify reproductive health issues affecting adolescents, young women and girls, and many communities. Bridge Connect is an organization that is committed to empowering and amplifying youth, women and girls' rights, health and education in their communities. It was established in 2017 and incorporated as a trust with the Corporate Affairs Commission of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a non-government, non-profit in August 2018. We are currently headquartered in Kano, Nigeria, with our core programming and implementation on policy advocacy, community engagements, and digital campaigns on health and education of women and girls, including sexual and reproductive health and rights, child protection, social protection, gender-based violence, and child marriage.
Over the years, we've done a lot on promoting women, girls, and young people's sexual and reproductive rights, promoting girl-child education, and looking for solutions to end gender-based violence. One of the many interesting projects we've done is the Rimin Kebe post-COVID intervention. This project was done at Rimin Kebe, Ungogo local government area of Kano State, targeting 20 women in this community. These women were provided with funding to go back to their businesses, as they were women who were already in businesses, but then lost their businesses to the COVID-19 incidents.
A yayin da COVID-19 ta zo, Allah ya sauko da wannan annoba, jari sai ya zo ya ƙasa, maza ba sa fita. Da maza ba sa fita sai kai da kake sana'a cikin gida, kai kake samu, kake ɗan abin da za ka yi, a samu a ci, a ciki, a samu a biyo wa yara. Yara suka zo da aka koma makaranta kana tura yara da haka har da 'ya'yan wasu, har makwauta, har wasu ma kana taimaka musu, Allah yana taimaka musu.
Da haka dai ake ta fama a lokacin nan, an sha wuya. Sakamakon babu jari tunda ko da yaushe ana amfani da dukiyar nan.
To kuma da abin ya cije muka ɗauki dabba ɗaya muka sayar, muka ƙara a kai, ya zo ya wuce. Azumi ya taho, za a yi azumi ba kuɗi, namiji ba fita, muka kuma sai da guda ɗaya, muka yi tanadin azumi.
Cinikin babu har muka zo muka dakata. Haka dai muke jarraba dai, da daɗi ba daɗi haka muke, yau mu ci riba gobe mu faɗi, abin da muka samu mu sake ɗora a kai.
Ana cikin wannan matsaloli sai Allah ya kawo wannan kungiya BCAI ta kawo tallafi sakamakon wuyar da aka sha da.
A cikinta muke ci, muke sha, muna tallafawa wani, mu ma muna samu muna yi.
Lokacin dai da kasuwa ta durƙushe mana, wannan kungiya ta BCAI ta ɗan tallafa mana kuma mun ji daɗi, saboda a lokacin muna ɗan sarin kaya haka, muna ɗan murzawa, muna siyarwa kuma muna samun riba, kuma muna jin daɗi. Har abu ya miƙa dai mun samu nasarori da yawa a wannan lokacin.
Kasuwa kuma ciniki ya daɗa tashi, ya daɗa haɓaka. An samu ba laifi, sai dai mu ce Allah ya saka da alheri.
Jari da aka ba yi min, an taimaka min, nema na yi wa wani ma ya ji daɗi, kuma na tara mutane, ni ce na zama umarni da jama'a, ni nake karɓa in haɗa in baya, kuma na ji daɗin abin.
Working in the programs department has developed my skills as a programs assistant to manage projects and activities in a coordinated way to achieve an impact. We do carry out project analysis to understand what the end users or beneficiaries want and need from projects. Design this project in a way to achieve deliverables that meet the expectations of beneficiaries, using the available resources judiciously within the scope and time frame of the project.
In the digital campaigns team, we've been able to tell unique stories and amplify the voices of young people, women and girls in various communities using various digital and multimedia tools. We leverage on various social media platforms to educate our audience on sexual reproductive health and rights, carry out digital advocacies, call out harmful practices and norms, as well as highlight the work that we do. Some of our videos include a video on period poverty, highlighting the realities young girls face accessing sanitary products in Africa.
I was privileged to work as the project coordinator for the Empowering Evidence-Driven Advocacy Project in partnership with Population Reference Bureau, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I was able to use technical skills and tools in project management to achieve the project deliverables and milestones, which was to increase advocacy for youth to access family planning services in Kano State, using the PRB Youth Family Planning Scorecard as a reference learning material.
Another video speak up against gender-based violence, highlighting domestic violence. We have various videos on child marriage and its effects on young girls. Our multimedia materials have and continue to reach a number of people globally, and we believe storytelling has the power to impact people to make informed choices about their sexual and reproductive health.
Our most recent project, which is the Nazari Mizefi podcast, is a project that aims to ensure that the Child Protection Bill advances to the next policy stage respectively, in Jigawa, Bauchi, and Kano states. The Nazari Mizerfi podcast consists of 10 episodes in Hausa language, and each of which was mapped to prompt listeners to examine their own assumptions and understanding, consider alternative perspective, and gain an understanding of the socio-cultural context and policy environment surrounding child marriage in local communities in northern Nigeria. It was designed to stimulate their support against child marriage in northern Nigeria, while also providing a unique avenue where survivors and community members shared their stories and lived experience to inspire informed choices and mobilize community actions against child marriage. Bridge Connect Africa initiative disseminated this series through community-based radio stations in each focal state, over the internet, and through community listening hubs facilitated by trained community engagement officers in each state.
Community engagement is an important aspect of our work. Over the years, we have successfully engaged with communities and stakeholders relevant to our work, whether working in the rural community or urban areas. I am intentional about working with the right people, including decision makers, using strategies approach aimed at inspiring communities to become empowered for actions.
Another project that is so dear to my heart is the Urban Girls Project. The Urban Girls Project was done at Marke, Dambata local government area, with 40 girls in focus. These 40 girls were taught basic knowledge of menstrual hygiene management. One interesting takeaway from there was to know that these girls were not even familiar with the use of sanitary pad. As a matter of fact, they had no idea that there was anything called sanitary pad. So the project opened their eyes to this, and they were ready to embrace the usage. Not just that, we're able to teach them on the production of reusable pads and also other dignity kits, which, aside using them on their own, they are also going to be selling to make money in order to be less dependent and less vulnerable to gender-based violence.
Ni ce ta ɗaya daga wannan ƙungiya da aka taimaka mana, da ban ni da ilimin kula da kai na al'ada, amma bitar da suka bamu na kula da kai na al'ada, muna kula da kanmu kuma mun amfani ta mun ji daɗinta. Mun samu ci gaba, an ba mu tallafi na hannun jari, ya ƙare mu mun amfane shi.
Ga rayuwar mu ta canza, muna sana'o'i daban-daban.
Mun yi man shafawa, turare ko da wanke baki.
Za mu iya nusar da kanmu ta dalilin wannan sana'a da muke yi, dai mu ce Allah ya saka da alkhairi.
I am particularly proud of how our programming directly affects positively the lives of women, adolescent girls, and children, engages young men and boys, and works with community gatekeepers, including policymakers, religious leaders, and traditional rulers, in enabling safe and healthy communities. We are obviously not where we want to be yet. It's been 4 years of immense work, learning, unlearning, and relearning. We will continue to develop new alignment opportunities with our partners across board to improve the lives of the communities we serve, while providing a coordinated platform for positive community transformation and sustainable impacts across communities in Africa.